Hello, my name is Anish, and this is my Scratch project chapter lab 2, and we'll get starting right away. So this first code is when down arrow key pressed, forever go to these coordinates, which is my first node. As you can see, this basketball over here, where my cursor is at. So it says when space key pressed, show, when Z key pressed, hide. This is basically for myself, where if I click the space, you can see over here that all four basketballs showed up, and when I click Z, X, C, and V, they go away. So for now, we want them here. Now I need to click this stop button just in case some other code comes. And essentially all this is me saying point in direction 180. So this is basically saying point in wherever direction I want it to go. And it has to be a minimum of 5 steps, so I made sure that was there, and a max of 10 steps. So I just went with a minimum. And so first I coded a square, and by doing that you see over here, you can see all the directions I went. So turn counterclockwise, anti-clockwise, negative 90 degrees, which is essentially the same thing as turning clockwise 90 degrees. And then I also repeated all of this, and I made sure to put a forever block so it goes on as a loop forever. And basically it's repeating, moving the amount of steps, and this is just turning this many degrees to make a right angle and form a square. And the set pen color to black, that's just showing the black pen color. And pen up, pen down, and erase pen are all used to show how the pen is moving, like to show the pen actually drawing the line down. And so now I'll actually click the down arrow, and let's see what happens. You can see over here that it's moving in a square, just like it was supposed to be coded to. And this is a continuous loop, as you can see that, because I coded it to be forever. Now we're done with that. So now I'm going to click Z, X, C, V to get rid of the basketballs, and now I go into A, S, D, F, G. These 5 tennis balls are for my pentagon. As you can see, it is formed as a 5-sided pentagon. And now this is where my second code comes into, and this is where my up arrow key is pressed. Go to negative X, negative 140, Y, negative 120. This is basically my initial position again, like where the arrow starts. I'm pretty sure it's right over here, this tennis ball. So this is erase all pen down to show like where the pen is moving. Repeat this many times. The repeat doesn't necessarily matter as long as it's repeating, and it's move 5 steps, which is again the minimum. And set pen color to black, that doesn't really matter, but why not just incorporate it? And so this is the difference between the pentagon and square. I turned 90 degrees. Okay, that looks pretty similar, but then when I get more down into it, it says turn 60 degrees here, turn negative 53 degrees, turn clockwise negative 67 degrees. These are basically, as you can see, the arcs here, which makes it look like a triangle with these 3 on the top. It has different angles. It can't be 90 degrees. It'll show negative 67 degrees to show the difference between negative 67 and negative 90. So that's the difference between the pentagon and square on this code. And I'm going to run it by clicking the up arrow key. And as you can see, the cat is moving, or my sprite is moving into a pentagon. And this is also forever, which is a loop. So now we're going to go into my extra credit. I'm going to remove all of these tennis balls. So now it says when right arrow key pressed. Actually, I should probably start as when I start as a clone, forever move 2 steps. When I start as a clone, wait until touching edge, delete this clone. So basically this clone is trying to, this first one over here where it says forever move 2 steps, I'm making sure that the clone goes on forever because it's not included in here. It can't. I could keep it in there, but I just kept it out here. And I said when I start as a clone, wait until touching edge, delete this clone. So basically, what's going to happen right now? I'm just going to play it, let it go. Right arrow key pressed. So as you can see, this is a wave. Yeah, this is what the extra credit was, and what's gonna happen is as this comes to the edge, it's gonna start deleting it. Yeah, you can see it deleting right there, and as it's deleting over here, it's going to add on. So it's basically an infinite loop, like infinite waves, and until I obviously stop the code. And what I did was, over here on my actual code, one right arrow key press, point direction, and go to these coordinates. That's basically where the cat initially started on my sprite one. This is forever. Create. Okay, so what I had to do was a create clone of myself. So this is basically creating the clone of the sprite one. So basically it's a clone repeating of itself. Set y equals to 25 multiplied by the sign of my variable. My variable also has a number. I had to do this to make sure that it can keep going, and this could have either been sine, tan, or as a sine or a cosine, but it had to be sine because that's what the trick worked for. So basically, the sine is what had to be used to actually form this wave. Like tan, if you go into cosine and try it, let's try it again. But cosine, click the right arrow key. I mean, it does work, but it stops over here and doesn't like keep going all the way like how the other wave does, if you can see that. So I go sine, and that's, now I have to stop again and click right arrow key. That's where it actually keeps going. I mean, this doesn't necessarily matter as much. It could be either one, but then the sine has like the waves like in a certain like way. And this is basically, it's saying over here, change my variable by 5. This is just showing how much distance it is going from the y-axis, and or not axis necessarily, but the y direction and x direction. X direction will actually go into the touching edge until it starts deleting. So that is my wave code. And also for the other extra credit, when one key pressed, the one key, pen up, erase all, point in this direction, go to these coordinates, we all know that. And this is where it changes. It's set my variable to 1 and set number to 1. So what this number is I created a variable to make sure like the value of the speed actually can change from fast to slow. So what I did down, I create clone of myself. It's the same thing over up here for the regular wave. Set y to 10 times sine of my variable. Okay, so what I did over here is I changed my variable by 3. Okay, so I made it so that it moves a certain distance, like from the y value. And if number is greater than 125, then it's going to start slowing down. Then the higher the value of this is, of my number over here, the more faster it's going to go. So change my variable by 2. So it's going to go less and less all the way up to 2. And then if number is equal to 150, then set number to 1. So basically these codes are just saying it's going to go faster or slower. And also it's to see how fast and how fast like it will stay, and how much slower it will stay. So now I'm going to click 1, and you can see my code right here. It's going really fast. Fast, and then it slows down. You can see the dramatic slowdown, and then again the speed. I could change the values of my variables and my numbers to make it more dramatic of how it's going fast and slow, as you can see, but it doesn't really matter that much. So that's it for my chapter 2 lab. Thank you.